Hey everyone, thank you so much for being here. Super excited about today's workshop. Today we're going to talk about augmented reality, virtual reality, and how you can build an app in 15 minutes or less. Thank you so much for joining. If you have any questions and you're watching this live, please ask them in the chat and I'll try to respond. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're Echo AR. It's a cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality apps, providing tools and network infrastructure for creators and developers like yourself to build applications. If you're here from a hackathon or an affiliated partner, make sure to use our affiliated link to register for the platform and enjoy a few of the perks that we provide and the sponsored prizes that I'm super looking forward to kind of judge in the competition. So I'm going to start by saying hello. I'm Alon, founder of Echo AR, based in New York City. I did my master's at computer science at Columbia University, specializing in AR and VR, and did my undergrad in computer science, electrical engineering, specializing in cloud. So a certified nerd and a big believer in the AR VR space. Now, before we kind of start, I want to level set here a little bit. I'm going to throw out these terms a lot, augmented reality, virtual reality. So let's define them together just to level set and make sure everyone's on the same page. So virtual reality or VR is when everything around you is digital. You're fully immersed in a 3D environment, and everything you see is this computer-generated image, a CGI construct that's basically projected into your eyes through some kind of headset that includes everything you're seeing. You're controlling the world through your hands or some controllers, as opposed to augmented reality or AR, in which you still see the real world, but that world is being overlaid with computer-generated imagery, and you're looking at the world through some optical see-through, like a headset or glasses, or a camera see-through, like a phone or a tablet. Now, a really good way to understand this is through the amazing movie Space Jam, in which we have Michael Jordan being teleported into Looney Town. Everything around him is a cartoon. He's kind of fully immersed in this cartoonish environment. As opposed to what we have later in the movie, in which we have Bugs and the Looney Tunes coming to our world, playing basketball with Jordan and Bill Murray, and interacting with us in the real world. So this is the kind of the funny way to relay augmented reality, virtual reality. Either we are being teleported into Looney Town, or Looney Town is coming to us. Now, real-world examples of that is something that you probably all know. Things like Pokemon Go, where people are running around interacting with digital monsters are not really there. Or for VR, we have something like Beat Saber, which is a really cool game that you slash kind of cubes based on the rhythm of the music, and you're fully immersed in the 3D environment. Everything around you, again, is this kind of CGI construct. Another example that is really close to my heart, and the pun is definitely intended, is this amazing example from Columbia University. This was my thesis project back in the day. We took CT and MRI scans, converted them into 3D models, and then put them on the software I created on a physician's headset to basically see the patient's heart floating above them in real time. It was an amazing, amazing experience and a really cool way to empower the OR with AR. And basically, again, allowing the kind of physician to get this 3D reference map of the patient's anatomy in real time. Now, in order to achieve that, I had to do something that I really, really hate, and that's waking up really early in the morning. I had to take those 2D scans, convert them to 3D models, rebuild the application, deploy it again to these smart glasses. And that process was so frustrating. It took so much time and effort. And as a developer, I only wanted to do two things. I wanted to manage 3D assets and deliver them to a 3D device. And when talking to other developers who are building augmented and virtual reality applications for retail and shopping and data visualization in games, they all said the same thing. There was no easy way to manage and deliver 3D data. But wait, if you think about it, this problem was solved for 2D already. If you want to build a website, you can use something like Heroku as your kind of cloud backend. If you want to build a mobile app, you can use Sparse or Firebase as your backend as a service to kind of synchronize data. So we went from web to mobile to now this new type of content, which is AR, VR, 3D, MR, XR, immersive, call it whatever. And the question has to be asked, who's going to build that platform for this type of new content? And you've guessed it, that's Echo AR. So we are a cloud platform for augmented and virtual reality, providing tools and network infrastructure for developers and creators like yourself to build applications at scale. Super excited about today's workshop. We're going to go through some concepts. We're going to show a demo. We're going to dive into some coding. But again, the point is for you to kind of have a tool to build applications really, really fast. And again, if you're here through some kind of hackathon or affiliated program, make sure to kind of register through the affiliated link. and kind of submit your application for the prize, the sponsors prize that we have. So let's dive in. And again, if you have any questions, feel free to add them in the chat. If someone asks about that link, get that from your event organizers, either on Slack or Discord. So think about it. The same way you don't need to be a web developer to update a blog post, you can drag and drop an image or video, suddenly they appear in web and mobile. And if I'm in New York and you're in California and we're both watching an episode on Netflix, we automatically get the best streaming experience. So we translated these concepts into augmented virtual reality, basically providing you with a way to manage and deliver 3D data and get the best 3D streaming experience. And what's interesting here is this kind of bidirectional connection between data and target. You as a user, you can't move an image or a video on a website, but you can definitely move a 3D couch across the room, and that needs to be updated on the cloud. So this is basically what we've built, this kind of content management system and delivery network specifically focused on 3D data. You can register for a free API key on our website. This is the link. But again, if you're here through an affiliated program or a hackathon, use the affiliated link that we shared with the event or program organizers so you can get an extra perk and get an extra tier for free. So definitely check that out. Now, so once you register, you're going to get an API key, basically a project key that is yours, and you can use that to build applications. And now we're going to see how. So once you register, let me jump right into that. You should get access to our console. This is what you see here on the left. And on the right, you just see my phone. Now we're going to start building applications for augmented reality and virtual reality. So once you get your API key, this is mine, for example, you'll be able to get access to the console. I'm going to start something super simple. I'm going to add some data to the cloud. So when you click add to cloud, you can add images, 3D models, videos. Most kind of file formats are supported. You can also use our kind of sample 3D models that we have right here to use them for free. And you can also use our search engine right here to search for any free to use 3D models that we can find, that you can literally write anything you want here and get 3D models for that. But let's start with something simple. As I mentioned, we're a company based in New York, so I'm going to take this 3D model of the Empire State Building. I'm going to upload it to our cloud. What happens right now is that we're taking that 3D model that is really suited for 3D printing, and we're converting it so it works on Android, iOS, and Magic Leap and HoloLens, you name it. Once that's done, we're able to see it right here in 3D. You can see that the original file was OBJ, but our kind of cloud automatically converted that to other file formats. No worries for you. And now let's see it in augmented reality. So you can download our sample sample apps right here for Android and iOS. You also have different SDKs that we're going to review in more depth. But let's start the sample apps. I'm going to use my phone to open a sample app right here. You can download again the sample app right through the console. I'm going to plug in my API key. What's going to happen right now is data will stream from the cloud to the device. Camera will instantiate. So you're going to see a view of my apartment. The camera will recognize the floor. I'm going to tap the screen and voila, the Empire State is here with me. And I can walk around it, walk inside. Super simple. And all I had to do is just kind of click a few clicks and put that in the console. Now, what happens if I want to change this? So instead of seeing the Empire State Building, I want to see a different building. So instead of rebuilding the application or doing anything technical, I'm going to go back here, delete the previous entry, upload something else, and that will automatically update across platform. This means that the app that you have is basically just the camera, and we're kind of bringing data from the cloud to the device. The app itself is super small because, again, it's just a camera. Okay, so now we have this new model right here. Same process occurred when we uploaded it. We took the 3D model, converted it, compressed it, and put it on the cloud. Again, plugging in the same API key, opening the exact same app, camera instantiates, sees the floor, and voila. Suddenly we have this building right here, and we're able to kind of see that instead of the Empire State. How cool is that? But what if I told you that I can stream this building to your phones right now? So as I mentioned, we are kind of cross-platform. We can send data from the cloud to any device out there. So what you just saw was a mobile native application, basically an application that's going to install in a mobile device. But another thing that we support is web. So you don't have to install anything. For example, we work with a art agency that wanted people to randomly walk into our gallery, see things in AR without installing any application. No worries. What you do is you click this button right here. It will open up a QR code. If you have a phone next to you right now, scan this QR code. I'm going to do the same with my phone right here. Most apps, kind of cameras on Android, iOS have a built-in QR code scanner. Scanning that redirects to a website. You don't have to install anything. So let's see how that works. And again, you can scan it with me right now and live if you're watching this. So we see a website opening with our 3D model. I'm going to click CNAR. Camera will instantiate again without installing anything. And voila, we see the building right here in augmented reality. Super, super simple. I can put it here on the floor next to me. How cool is that? Try that again yourself. I'm going to leave that QR code a little bit here so you can kind of take time to scan this. But again, if you're watching this video live, please do. It will show you how to kind of see this 3D model in augmented reality automatically. Okay, so we saw mobile, we saw web. Another platform that I want to show you is Unity. It's a game engine that a lot of developers love to use to build applications. And later, we're going to do a coding workshop around how to use Unity and Echo AR. But again, camera instantiates, no surprises there. Camera recognizes the floor. We're going to put that 3D model right here. But now let's say we want to update it. Let's say we want to change something in real time. So what we can do is we can click this button right here to expose the data panel associated with this 3D model. And now let's say I want this to animate. I want this to move a little bit. So I can add any metadata that I want. So for example, I can add direction equals right. Bam, suddenly it starts to rotate in real time. How cool is that? Or maybe I think it's too small, so I can add scale equals 2. Bam, suddenly it becomes bigger in real time. And these are kind of real-time updates that you have control over when it comes to 3D applications. Really, really cool stuff. Now, the thing is, again, this could be anything you want. So when you build your application, you can put any data, any kind of key value that you want to stream to your application. And that means that you can control if flows, you can control features remotely, you can add features remotely. Later, we're going to see how you do that through code. But again, just kind of note that you can kind of use this to change the applications in real time. Okay, so we saw so far, we saw mobile, we saw web, we saw Unity, but everything we saw so far was basically around the same kind of approach to augmented reality, which is surface detection. The camera will recognize a floor or a chair or a table and overlay the data on top of that. Another thing that we support is image recognition, basically allowing you to see a kind of an AR construct on top of an image. So the camera recognizes an image, that's image recognition, and will overlay that with the data. This image can be anything you want. It could be a QR code, it can be a magazine, it can be your business card. So let's see how we do that. So now I'm going to click the same kind of QR code generator that we have. And now instead of doing see on the floor, I'm going to do see on an image. And now I'm going to scan this QR code. And again, if you're watching this, you can scan this with me in real time. Scanning this redirects to a website. You don't have to install anything. Once that's done, keep your camera oriented to the QR code, because now the QR code is that image target. And voila, the kind of building now, instead of being on the floor, kind of jumps out of my screen through this QR code being the target. How cool is that? So I'm going to leave it right here so you can kind of scan it yourself. But also I'm going to add some more content to show you how you can do the same with custom images. So let's add a custom, let's do a video. So we already saw 3D models. So I'm going to throw in a video right here. And now instead of doing anywhere, I'm going to put that video on an image. So I'm going to choose an image file. There we go. And I'm going to upload it to our cloud. What happens right now is that we take the image and the video and we convert them to the work in augmented and virtual reality. Another thing that we can do is we can add content to specific locations. Oh, whoops, we have an issue with the image. Let me try that again. There we go. I'm going to upload a specific 3D model, and I'm going to put it in a specific locations. For example, I can put it in New York City. That means that you can build an app, and if you open it in New York, that will kind of allow you to see that 3D model in New York. If you open it in San Francisco, you're going to see a different building, for example. Not sure why that failed. Let me try that again. So let's throw in this video alone, and then I'll try another. So there you can see this 3D model now have a specific location right here, and that location kind of allows you to tag that 3D model with another place. Here's a video example. Let me show you that. So I'll use the same QR code now. So let's do that. Redirecting to a website. If you want, you can scan it with me right now. Keep your camera in front of the QR code. In this example, again, we're doing image recognition. And there you go. Suddenly we see that video kind of playing in augmented reality. And I can scale with my fingers, whatnot. Super, super simple. Perfect. So we saw videos, we saw images, we saw 3D models. Now let's explore the console a little bit more, and then later kind of transition into a coding workshop. So let's see what we have. So in our console, we already saw the downloads menu that allows you to download sample apps and kind of our SDKs. You can switch a theme, which is really cool. I love the dark theme as default, but you can change. Here is the help menu. It's really, really important for you to use it. It has a link to our documentation, which is basically a step-by-step guide of everything I just did. So basically, it shows you how to register, how to access, how to kind of add a 3D model, how to see it, how to share it. Everything that we just did together is here. I'm going to share that link right here in the chat. So definitely read through this. Another thing that we have here is our GitHub page. It is filled with a lot of open source examples that you can kind of literally use to build applications really quickly. If you're here through a hackathon, I would definitely recommend using one of those because basically it will save you a lot of time. So definitely check them out. There's like a really, really cool amount of applications. Let me kind of open a few of them just to share. Let's do the demo of this one, and let's do election, let's do a living room, and let's do face change and solar system. And let's do, what else? We have so many of those that you can kind of use automatically. So I would really recommend kind of going through these examples. So let's see. So we have an example of a board game that you can build in augmented reality for players to kind of play around with. Here's an example of kind of body occlusion that you can kind of change, upload images, and it will change the color of your hand. Here's an example of like a planetary website that you can build. Here's an example of an election 3D application that you can kind of visualize results in augmented reality with videos, with images. Super, super cool. Here's an example of a living room. Inside a living room, you can upload a video, like it's the same video we just uploaded, some 3D models, and you're good to go. Here's an example of a face change with face filters that you can play around with. A solar system one to kind of educate people in the solar system. Here's another example of remote work that you can have like a person and like messages that you throw in with just a few kind of 3D models. Here's an example with image recognition, so you can have like a museum come to life. Really, really easy. So I'm going to share that link to our projects as well. So check out the docs right here. There we go. We have a question, can you upload models from Autodesk? Yeah, so you can kind of save models from Autodesk as long as you save them in FBX or GLTF format. You can literally upload them as files. Just throw them in. For example, here I have like OBJ files, GLB files. You can literally just throw them in and that will be converted. If you're here through a hackathon, you can definitely use kind of our system. And you can register for a free tier. No kind of credits needed. Another really important resource is our Slack channel. This is where you ask questions from our support team. I'll try to hang out there and answer questions later as well. So definitely kind of make sure to register for that and join our community on Slack. And you can also feature, once you kind of build your application, share it with the community, get feedback. It's really important. You can always email us or send us a tweet as well. Kevin asking, how will be able to real-time changes asset while using the QR code? So if you're using the QR codes, it really depends. The real-time changes, and kind of refer to our documentation to learn more about this, but it really depends. Some of the QR codes, like for example, the surface detection does not support real-time updates. The image recognition does support updates, but you do have to refresh the web page. So there's different kind of updates for different technologies and different platforms. So definitely kind of go through our documentation to make sure that you have the right features that you're looking for. The most robust one that has everything is Unity, and later we're going to see a coding workshop with that. But great question. Now let's continue exploring the console a little bit. We have a data page that allows you to kind of change the data across your application. So we already saw how you can manage data per 3D model, but you can also have this kind of global database that allows you to manage data across their entire applications. For example, we worked with a company that did a scavenger hunt, like a murder mystery game, and they had different 3D models associated with different scenes, but they also had data that is associated with all scenes, like a user's profile and stuff like that. So you can add that here. You can manage your subscription, see how much bandwidth and storage you're using every time, how much API calls you're making to our cloud. And again, you're going to get a paid subscription for free if you're here through a hackathon using the affiliated link. Here's the location page, shows you the distribution of content. Remember, we added that Fox to New York. Here it is. We also see the kind of all the servers that are supporting your applications. Here's the security page. Basically allows you to add users and kind of extra team members to your project so you can work together. Definitely take advantage of that if you're working as a team. The insights page is really powerful. Shows you how you can kind of build applications and kind of monitor your apps. So remember, we just kind of stream the apartment building, so we see a spike in usage, and that kind of happens for all of the 3D models. So this is a really cool way for you to monitor your project. Users is another cool page that allows you to monitor the user distribution. Tutorials is one of the favorite pages that we have right here. That basically has a lot of kind of frequently asked questions, a link to our documentation, link to GitHub, all these different kind of tutorials that you can use to build applications that, as I showed you, also exist in our GitHub page. Here's another amazing page. It's the inspiration page. This is filled with amazing examples of things that people built for augmented virtual reality and for using Echo AR, like the art agency that I mentioned, or the murder mystery game, or a project that we did with Horizon 5G. There's so many really cool, amazing applications here around shopping and advertising and data visualization and games and COVID-19 even, and measurements and image recognition, surface detection. So really go through this to get inspired by what people are building, like this mask visualizer. And we will, again, when you build something with AR, let us know so we can feature you here and kind of show the world what you're building. Really cool stuff and really amazing use cases. And if you think about it, again, you're kind of limited only by your imagination. You should definitely kind of go through this and kind of get more, more of what you're trying to build. We have a question here. How precise can the AR model be tied to a location given a coordinate? So yeah, you can definitely put it in a specific address, and you're only limited by your kind of device's GPS precision. So you can literally put it on the corner of, I don't know, 83rd and 5th, but you kind of need to make sure that when you kind of use a device, your GPS coordinates are pretty precise. Look in our documentation to query through location, but you can literally define the radius that you want. So when the application queries for data from kind of our cloud, you can tell it, this is the coordinate I'm looking for, but I'm happy to kind of have an offset of like, I don't know, 1 mile, 1 meter, 3 feet or whatnot. So the precision, again, is based on your device and the way you query the data. But great question. Great. So before we transition into the coding part of this workshop, let's recap. So we're able to upload images, videos, 3D models. We're able to interact with 3D models, change them in real time, see them automatically in AR. We can also share them. So like every 3D model that you have has this kind of really quick shared link that you can send people on all these different social media. So definitely kind of check that out as well. And now we're going to transition to a more technical part of the workshop in which we're going to literally kind of code a little bit and build an applications ourselves. So let's see. So let me kind of put this here and open Unity. So this is Unity. It's a game engine a lot of developers love to use. What you need to do is you need to download Unity. It's totally free. And you download our Unity SDK. Again, everything I'm going to go through right now exists in our documentation step by step. So I'm going to download our Unity SDK, double click that, and then we're going to have this kind of scene. It's totally empty. We have the Echo AR kind of directory right here because we embedded our SDK. Totally empty scene. There's nothing here except for the Echo AR game object. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take my API key and I'm going to plug it into our SDK. I'm going to click play. Data will stream from the cloud to the game engine, and suddenly all these things that we have here, like there you go, we have the building, we have the video, we have the fox. I'm going to delete the video because it's playing in my ear. So let's delete that. But check out how cool is that I'm deleting it from here automatically in real time. It kind of disappears from the game VR environment. Let's also move the fox a little bit because it's occluded by the building. So we already know how to do that. Let's do x equals 10. Bam, suddenly it jumped 10 feet away. So what's cool about this is that we have all these kind of 3D models kind of appear from the cloud. When I stop the application, everything disappears. So remember, nothing actually persists on memory. It all comes from the cloud and being instantiated in real time. This means that the application that you're going to build will be super small, and you won't have to kind of do anything kind of technical in order to kind of rebuild the application. Anastasia is asking, how can we create 3D models from 2D images? So if you want this specific kind of 3D model, if I don't know, you want to have an image of a fox and you want a 3D model of a fox, you need to use something like Blender or some kind of 3D modeling tool. But we also have a really cool feature that if you upload a kind of an image, just an image, it will automatically be converted into 3D, and then you'll be able to share it. So if you want a 2D image to become a 3D kind of plane that you can kind of have an artwork to put on the wall or something like that, you can do that automatically with Echo AR. So for example, I just uploaded this image right here. Automatically, I'm able to share this thing and see it in 3D. Maybe I'll do that. That's a good question. So let's see how we can do that. There we go. So again, redirect to a website. I'm going to leave it here for a sec. And there we go. Now we have this image that we had, but now it's kind of a 3D model that we can place on different walls. Hopefully that is the option that you're looking for. But here you go. Suddenly we have this kind of almost like a 3D sticker that I can put anywhere on the wall. And that's kind of a really cool way to, like a really quick way to kind of see 2D images in 3D. But yeah, like other people kind of suggest here, you can use Blender or Maya to kind of build your own 3D models if you don't find them again in our search engine right here. Perfect. So let's continue. Going back to Unity, that was a great question for like a good sidebar here. So now let's let's press play again. Data will stream from the cloud to the game engine. Oh, now we see also the image, so let's delete that. But you can see that everything kind of came back to the same place, right? The building is still rotating. The fox is 10 feet away. This is what we call the stateful CMS. The console remembers the state of your scene and kind of recreates it when you kind of resume the application. But let's do some kind of changes. So I'm going to delete this building. I'm going to put the fox back in the center. You can see everything kind of happens in real time. And now let's look at our fox. And let's say we want to add some features to it. So we have the fox right here called Arctic Fox. And now we want to change something. We want to add a feature. So what's cool about Echo AR is that every 3D model has an associated scene, associated script attached to it called custom behavior. This is a script in C#, basically in Unity format, that you can change to basically add any functionality that you want. So let's review it together and let's see its effect. So a Unity script has two major functions. One is the start function, evident by its name, happens when you start the application. And the update function, which happens every single frame. Remember, you're coding in 3D now. This means that there's like a video rendering, there's like a scene being rendered. So this function really runs every single frame. This means that it needs to be well optimized. If kind of remember your CS fundamentals on complexity. If this function hangs or kind of gets stuck, your entire application will hang or get stuck. But let's start with a simple feature. Let's say we want to change the name of the fox. So in the start function, we have this kind of snippet of code that adds the remote transformation script. That's the script that kind of changes its location, rotation, stuff like that. But we also have this snippet of code that says, do I have any additional data? If so, do I have an additional data called name? If that's the case, set the name of this game object to this name. So let's see how that works in practice. So now we have Arctic Fox right here. But now let's say I want to add some metadata, again, some additional data called name equals Kevin. There you go. Kevin asked a good question, so he's getting a shout out here. If I press play, data again will stream from the cloud to the game engine. And now we're going to see that the fox has a name, and now that name is Kevin. How cool is that? So this is a really simple example to show that you can kind of change data in real time, kind of affect the application through scripts. Now what we're going to do is we're going to change the name something else. Let's say Sam. It didn't change. Why is that? Because that snippet of code was in the start function. Again, it happens only when you start. So if I restart the application, that snippet of code will happen again, and then we'll have Sam right here. Super simple. We have a question. Can we use fixed update to make sure that it's not frame per second dependent? Yeah, 100%. You can put that anywhere you want, and you can query the data based on that. You can put it in update. You can put it on resume, on destroy, anything you want. Great question. So now let's say I want this to update in real time. So what can I do in the code? So you've guessed it. I'm going to move this kind of snippet of code from the start function to the update function, basically saying that every single frame we're going to ask, do I have a name? If so, let's kind of change the name of the object to that name. So let's press play again. Data will stream from the cloud to the device. Now the script is a bit different. It kind of queries the name all the time. We have Sam the Fox, and now when I'm changing it to Kevin, bam, it changed in real time. How cool is that? So a really, really simple example, but again, to show that you can literally build anything you want and kind of change things in real time. Now let's transition into a more kind of sophisticated example. I'm going to delete the fox. I'm going to upload some new content. So I have a 3D model file right here, and that goes back to the question that we had about like uploading 3D models. So you can do that too. So I'm going to throw in this GLB file, which is a 3D model. And I'm also going to attach a CSV file, an Excel file that basically has all these keys and values already kind of predefined. Instead of me kind of manually plugging them in, we can throw that in, and Echo AR will automatically, kind of the system will automatically parse these values. So let's throw that in. Same process occurs, conversion and compression, we already know that. Now what I'm also going to do, I'm going to swap the custom behavior script under the hood, and we can kind of review it together. So let me throw that in. Perfect. So now let's review the custom behavior scripts together. So now we have, and maybe I'll put it here. Yeah. So now we have this array of continents. We have a dictionary. We have a data structure. The start function looks pretty much the same, but the update function is much more interesting here. Here we're saying, do I have any additional data? If I do I have scale? If that's the case, let's parse it into a number. Then let's iterate over all continents. If I have information about a continent, let's parse the number that is associated with that continent with the number of COVID cases. Then let's see if we have a graph. If that's the case, set the size of the graph, the size that we have the number of cases. If not, let's create a graph. Let's give it a color, give it a name, give it a location, give it some kind of position, add text to it. And if we don't have information, just delete the graph that exists. So let's see how that works. So we already have the kind of the Earth right here. We have all this metadata kind of right here in the data panel. And now when I press play, let's see what's going on. Data will stream from the cloud to the game engine. There we go. Now we're seeing Earth spinning around here, and we're seeing this kind of cool bar graphs associated with it. And now, and we can see the text and whatnot. And now if I want to change things, what I'm going to do is I can go to like Antarctica, change it from 1 to 8. Bam, suddenly the graph updates in real time. How cool is that? Or let's say I want to delete Antarctica completely. Bam, everything kind of deletes. So this is, again, like a really simple example that you can use to build a COVID visualizer. And then you can take this kind of example. People saying that the font is too small. No worries. This full example is open sourced on our GitHub page. So just look for a COVID visualizer. Maybe I'll find it here. Let me see if I can find that. And you can literally just copy paste the code. But what could be really, really cool is that you take this code and you expand on it. You take this code, there you go, you can kind of recreate it here, and you add some kind of backend integration that this data, instead of being kind of manually entered, you take that from the WHO organization database and you can update those numbers in real time. And then you just do post requests and you kind of post this data with our API. Maybe let's review that in our documentation. So this is a really cool example, and it obviously sounds like a winning project. That you have this thing, you go to our data API, and then you post through API calls. You're kind of posting data and values directly, so you don't have to kind of do that manually. And you have a server that changes data remotely, and kind of all these graphs are updated in real time. Perfect. Any other questions before we kind of recap and go back to the slides? So let's recap. So what did we see so far? So we saw how you can choose any kind of client-side platform. You can use mobile, you can use web, you can use Unity. We saw how you can do a lot of things with no coding at all. Everything we did in the beginning was literally just drag and drop stuff, and we're able to manage data and see that in AR just by scanning a QR code. We saw how we build, store, and deliver that data to any device out there. And we saw how you developers can save time and money in building your application and backend. We saw how content creators need no technical skills to build applications, and how we kind of can send data all over the world at scale. We talked about use cases like surgery and ads and tourism and navigation, and we saw the inspiration page that is filled with amazing examples of AR and VR that you can contribute to. And once you build your application, super excited to see what you're going to build. A little bit more about us as a company. We won a bunch of awards. We're backed with some of the most amazing investors in the country, like Imagine Ventures, Verizon, R Lab, Techstars, and more. We're featured at all these amazing events. Hopefully, when things are back to normal, we'll be able to see you at these events, say hello, try to find our team, and say that you went to this workshop. We'd love to say that we empower people to build applications across all devices and all platforms. So I'm super excited to see what you're going to build. Again, you're only limited by your imagination. Start building. This is definitely the time to build AR VR application, because we saw here, even in the kind of in the chat, the response is the wow factor that you're getting when you're seeing something in AR. Make sure you register for an API key. Go to our documentation to get started. Go kind of through everything we just did today. Thank you so much for joining this workshop. If you have any questions, feel free to write them here in the chat or join our kind of support Slack and ask them there. Really, really appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Start building and let us know what you've built so we can feature the community. Thank you so much and have an amazing, amazing day. Start building. Looking forward to see where you're going to build. Have a good one, everyone. Bye-bye.